Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Welcome outside again. The last few videos we've all kind of been stuck inside. Today came outside to look at something that I've been testing now for a good while now actually. How long have I had this? I want to say 2 months, but I've managed to do quite a bit in that time. So a couple of weeks back I had a family trip to mid Wales. So you know, I've done some day trips with this, I've done some forest walks, we went halfway up a mountain with this, and also using it as an EDC commute style bag. I've got it set up today as though it would be set up for a day-to-day kind of pack, but what we are here to look at is the VIKTOS Perimeter 40. Now the Perimeter 40 is a 40 litre 72 hour backpack that does an awful lot. In fact it was this year that I got introduced to VIKTOS, and do you know what, I was going to say I'm quietly impressed by what I found from them, but I think if you look at my other two pieces of content, which were the Perimeter 25 and the Upscale 2, I'm actually quite vocal about how much I really like their products. They're a new company on the market. They've been around since 2017, but they're making some really good packs. So what I'll do, as I usually do, you know, we'll turn the camera around so that you can have a look at this pack a little bit more while I'm doing that. If you do enjoy this content at any point, please feel free to hit that like button. It would be awesome to show support for me by hitting subscribe as well. But for now, let's turn the camera around and have a look at the Perimeter 40. So as we usually do, we'll go around the outside of the bag, we'll look at the materials, everything else, and then we'll have a look at the insides. Now, as previously mentioned, this is the Perimeter 40, which is a 40 litre pack. Very similar to something like the Rush 72, whereas the Rush 72, the 72 denotes the amount of hours that, you know, it's designed for. This is still a 72-hour bag. You can fit roughly enough provisions and kit and gear if you're in the military to be able to take this out for 72 hours. So they're very similar in that vein, whereas, you know, this one is just slightly larger. The materials on this, it's made, well actually sorry, there's two versions, or at least two different types of materials, and it really comes down to the colour. So there are two colours that are in the 1000D KODRA nylon, and the two colours, there's two colours of this. So this is the Citadel version. The Citadel version, actually, I'm quite glad they sent me this version, because it's, I mean, I wouldn't be wrong in saying that usually I tend to choose more military style colours, but this one is probably a little bit more suited to EDC in the fact that it's this almost kind of, now I was going to say navy blue then, but I suppose navy is a darker, richer blue, but by navy blue I mean almost like a battleship kind of blue, which I think is quite nice. In different lights it looks a little bit more greyer, in other lights it looks a little bit more bluer. But they also have an all black version, which is also in the 1000D KODRA. And then there are two multicam versions. There is a regular multicam and there is a multicam black version, and they're in 500D. All of the buckles that you find on here, they're all DURAFLEX buckles. They're the military grade DURAFLEX buckles. All of the zips on here are YKK zips, and they all have these accessory cord, nylon cord, with some heat wrap around them, so that, you know, there's no jingling around with these. They are they refer to them as silent pulls. So going around the outside of the bag, what I've really started to appreciate about VIKTOS bags is the little details that they put into them, which, I mean, it's great that they're there. They're not a necessity, but I think sometimes when you find these little details, it makes you think that there's just been quite a lot of thought being put into them about these little subtle details. The first one here is on the front, so hopefully you'll notice that this uses a laser cut MOLLE system. So all of the PALS webbing on here, rather than it being the old-fashioned PALS webbing, it's all laser cut out. Now with the blue Citadel version here, you can see underneath that the panel that they've used on the inside is actually a different shade. It's a brown kind of khaki colour against this blue panel, which I think looks really nice. But it also shows that on the inside that they've been able to use the same 1000D KODRA material on the inside. So if you are worrying about putting things in here and it rubbing against the back and it being a lesser material, you can certainly see on this front panel that it's definitely not a lesser material. What they've also done is, in between each of the laser cut PALS sections, they've also stitched this into that back panel as well. So if you try to pass your finger through each of them, you certainly can do, but you can't pass it through here, which you can do with other bags, which means that if you have something attached to the front, that sometimes it can come away or it can move forwards and backwards against the panel that's in there. Here there are a couple of extra access pockets on the sides. This is one of the things that I quite like about this. So I'm struggling a little bit with my speech today. I'm still waiting for my meds to kick in. Is that you have, and it's the same on both sides, you have two large pockets that will fit large water bottles. This is a 1 litre, which I believe is a 32 ounce. It doesn't, does it? No, it doesn't say it on here. But this is a 1 litre. So if you need a large bottle like that, it will fit in perfectly. And when it's out, if you want to stow that away, there is a large zip that comes up the side as well, which is really good. Now, having tested this, I can definitely say that these don't come out. It's a great large pocket, and you can put a lot in here if you don't want to put bottles in. If you are concerned for some strange reason, you know, you're taking your pack off a lot, you've had issues in the past where your bottles have been falling out, you also have a little piece of webbing here that, if with some accessory cord, maybe some paracord, you can attach a loop to that you can slip over the top here, which is perfectly useful and situated to stop these from falling out. Now on the right, or the opposite side, because I know this is something that you guys specifically have been asking about, and I did check with VIKTOS, yes, it is 100% tactical teddy bear compliant on both sides. So depending on how you want to take this off, which side you want to carry a water bottle, or whether you want to carry 2 water bottles, you can do on both sides, and they're great for that. Moving on to the bottom, there's no lashing points or anything on the bottom, which is a bit of a shame. I certainly think that a bag like this, with it having specifically, you know, military style use, it would be useful maybe to have a couple of lashing points on here. I think if they do a version 2, then that would be great, but it's predominantly, there is a massive grab handle here on the bottom now. I'm really looking forward, hopefully this year, once a lot of the travel restrictions are starting to lift, that I can start travelling again with work. There is a huge grab handle here on the top, but also having one on the bottom when you're throwing these things into taxis, overhead luggage, all of that sort of stuff. Just having an extra angle that you can grab it from to be able to pull it out is certainly useful. And plus, if you do need to throw it into something, you know, it's great that they're on there. And these are stitched in really, really, really well, so I certainly don't have any issues or any worries about that. Moving from the sides and the bottom, moving up the front, there is a VIKTOS logo here, which is that kind of heat rubber that you get on your gloves, which actually really quite nice. There is another zip section here. Now this zip section leads through to a fleece lined pocket, so whatever you put in here, I've got some glasses, it will be protected. There's also another little feature in here, so you've got your fleece lined pocket, so if you need to fit some optics, but then there is also another small pocket which again is fleece lined. I don't know if that's specifically for something military based, or maybe the only other thing I can think, maybe you've got some like AirPods and you're really worried that you don't want to get them scratched, that little case that it comes in, but you can put that in there as well. Behind there is another zipper that takes you into the large main compartment, which we'll have a look at in a second. Above there, there is a really nice large morale patch section that you can put morale patches onto. Here's my first and only airsoft. And then behind there is a section that you can pull a hydration bladder hose through. Now I'll have a look at the back in a bit once we've had a look at the inside, mainly just because some of the sections that are on there will cover as we're actually looking at the different sections of the pack. Okay, so the first pocket on here is this vertical quick access pocket here on the front. This has a AquaGuard zipper on there, and there is also a little garage at the top here. It feels like a Hypalon style material that when you push the zip up there, it keeps it nice and in place. The mouth on this is a good 9 inches. You can fit quite a lot in here. Here is a pouch that I use, you know, when I'm out in the woods. I quite like to take some slingshots with me to do a little bit of plinking, but you can fit an awful lot in there. Here is my notebook that I use when I'm making this sort of material. That will easily slide in there. Hopefully you'll be able to see it goes from the top here all the way across, down and roughly about here, so that's a good 12 inches from top to bottom, roughly 9 inches across. I know exactly because my span is 9 inches. Behind that panel then, you have an AMBI-OPEN, so there are 2 zips which pull down on both sides, and then you have your CCW section. Now this is actually in 2 parts, obviously, because there is a little bit on the front here which we'll have a look at in a second. But it does come with a small holster, which looks like I put in upside down, but it does come with a small holster if you do want to off-body CCW, but this can be easily removed. There are some little clips at the back which just a little bit, they come off, so you can take those off and then you can put whichever holster that you have in here as well. Behind each of these there are 4 pass-throughs which have hook and loop across the front as well, and then behind each of those there are then 4 other small pockets that will easily fit pistol magazines if you want to keep those in here as well. Behind that you find especially with these VIKTOS packs, that they use this mesh. It's a really strong mesh. I think this stuff really would take a lot to tear. I certainly don't have any worries about it myself, but there is a pocket behind here, so if there's anything, maybe if you are using this as a gun bag, or you know, you want to take this to the range, you can put, I know, your oil, you can put your cleaning stuff in here for your pistols, and it'll do a great job of that. Also within here there is another key stay, so if you have a locker or anything like that, you can put those in. And I'm just going to bump this up because hopefully you'll be able to see on the flip side here there's some extra mesh pocket here that again you can put quite a lot into. This runs all the way across and about halfway down, and then underneath there are 2 additional pockets which perfectly fit larger rifle magazines. They both fit AK and AR 15 magazines in there as well. So then behind these 2 sections you have the main capacity for this pack. Now, as mentioned, you know, this is a 40 litre pack, and I'd probably hazard a guess that a good 30 to 35 litres of that is in this large section. So you have 2 AMBI-OPEN zips. Each of the zips, again, YKK zippers, they're reverse stitched. These are the larger versions of the YKK zippers, and they also have eyes on there, so that if you are travelling with this and you need to lock this section, then you can do. Bringing the 2 zips together, you can pass a lock through those, which especially, as I mentioned, you know, hopefully when I get to start travelling with this, I'll be able to use that and have that security there. So this opens, now it's not a full clamshell. The zips do come all the way down, but instead you have these 2 gaskets which stop it from completely opening. Personally, I quite like that. I find I'm kind of torn on the full clamshell opening thing, mainly because when I'm travelling and there is a lot of stuff in this section, you open it and it just falls down, and it does make it difficult. I find that I'm in and out of my bags quite a lot, so being able to hold it, and it, you know, even on that it manages to stay up. If you're holding it up like this, then you can hold it open, and it again, you know, it just stops it from completely opening. So what I've done in here is just to show you roughly what you can get in. You know, I have a mask. Obviously there's a lot of different places around the world that masks are mandated, so have those in there. Let's say I'm out after work with some friends for a quiet drink. I've got a change of clothes, but I have used this whilst away. I was away for a week and I took everything that I needed away for a week in this one bag. So you can definitely fit a lot in this main section. So just to point out some of the other things that are in here. Down each side there is a large water bottle section, which, I mean, you can either use for a water bottle or you can decide how you use that. This is on, or at least both of these on both sides, use the internal capacity of the bag. We tend to find with some of these large water bottle sections is that when they pass out, they kind of push out onto the outside, or these large ones on the outside push into the internal side. But these are fully internal and use the main capacity of this large section. On the back here there is some hook and loop, so if you want to hang a hydration bladder from here, you can fit up to a 3-litre hydration bladder in here easily. There is some more meshing on the back, so if you are away for the weekend or a few days, you can put your clothes in here. If there are some extra things that you want to keep separate from all of the others, maybe some toiletries, you can put there in that large section across the back. Again, this goes all the way across the back and roughly, say, I don't know, 5/6 of the way down, where again at the bottom here there is another section that you can then use to put additional things in. Again, maybe actually that would be quite useful for toiletries. As far as holding or pulling this out, you know, it goes out a lot, you can fit a lot in here. But one of the additional things that they have added to this, which at first I wasn't sure if I'd use it, but having tested this out, I think it's a great addition. So there is a drawstring pocket here on the front that goes all the way down into the seam and then comes all the way up. It's made from what looks like maybe a 2 or a 300D ripstop material. So I know you are away for the weekend or a few weekends, you've got dirty grots, that sort of stuff that you want to keep separate from the rest of your stuff, then you can put that into here to keep anything that's dirty away from anything that's clean. This is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Being away with kids, going on day trips with kids, they're always getting dirty, they're always getting smelly and horrible. So being able to put stuff into here that's away has been brilliant. What I've also used this for as well is that when I've been out walking and we've eaten, so any bits that you know usually we'd throw away, we put in a bag, bang into here, and again it keeps everything separate from the rest of the stuff that's in here. This is a really great addition. It has a drawstring, elasticated top. You just pull it closed like that, and then it keeps everything away from you. Then in the top here there is another mesh zip pocket, which you can use here. I've got a pouch and a battery charger in there, which keeps different bits away. If you're into compartmentalizing things, and this is one of the things that I touched on with the Perimeter 25, if you're into having a different section for different things, I think the Perimeter 40 really does take it to the next level, because there's so much as far as organisation that you can do with this pack, and I think it's absolutely amazing for that. But we're still not finished, because you have this back section which has what I found was the big selling point on the Perimeter 25 for me, and this back section is directly took from the Perimeter 25. So again, you have AMBI-OPEN zips which pull down this sign into kind of a full clamshell again, but you have these gaskets on there. the gaskets on these are a little bit easier to be able to pull it down. So in here you can fit, here is a 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is great. It does say that you can fit up to a 15-inch laptop in here, but I can definitely confirm this is a 16-inch version. And I'm actually going to swing this round because for my career, for the work that I do, I have to take a lot of electronics away with me when I'm traveling. So I have certain pouches that I bought that are nice and long, but what this pack has is, there are two. So there's one here that goes from the top all the way down to the bottom that you can fit a lot of stuff into. And then to the right of that, there is another large one that goes all the way down as well, and a zip pocket that goes all the way down as well. You then have some organisation in front of the laptop, but just these two pockets by themselves save me so much in the way that I carry, because I think the thought that's been put into these, again, you know, I mentioned this with the Perimeter 25, I definitely recommend you watch that video. There's been a lot of thought put into this. Now VIKTOS talk a lot about the knowledge pool that they delve from, and it comes directly from acting and retired force personnel, and you can definitely see that they've used them on this. Across the front, or at least inside this panel, there are 6 double loops so that you can put additional things in here as well. These are great for electronics, but also really useful if let's say you did want to put some magazines in here. And then behind each of those there are 3 larger pockets as well that you can put more stuff into, and you can fit magazines into there as well. And then behind that there is another large pocket that you can put additional stuff into as well. I say this a lot, but as far as organisation goes for this pack, it is absolutely amazing. The one thing that I do want to point out, which I think when this was designed, somebody was just maybe a few centimetres short. So if I lift this up, oh, I forgot to mention, so behind here there is also an easy access pocket as well, which I've got a small pouch in there as well. But if you want to put your mobile phone in there, you want to put a wallet in there, you want to put your keys or stuff like that in there, it's great for that. Plus, you know, again, attention to detail, there's an AquaGuard zipper across the top. This is the main section, if you were caught out in the rain, is going to get wet. So having the AquaGuard zipper, whatever's in there will be nice and secure and protected. But getting back to this section, so here is the inside of this pocket. Now if I push this up, you'll be able to see that there's an extra mesh panel here. I hope you can see this, but the zip in here goes across the top, and to get in you have to do some kind of wrist gymnastics to be able to get in, because you have to go round the inside of this lip and then be able to get in. So it's a little bit tricky. I've not used this as much. I think this zip needs to come down maybe 2 or 3 centimeters, which with this lip here will make it a lot easier to get into. I mean, I'm not complaining, mainly because it's another pocket for more organisation that you can have in this pack, and it's certainly appreciated. It just needs the zipper mouth opening to it moving down a little bit. Now I do keep these in the way that, you know, they're sent to me, and on the outside here in this section there is a tag. So I do find that sometimes zipping this up with the tag being so close to the zip, it's not the zip's fault, it's just that this tag is a little bit close to that, which is easily remedied. You know, you can easily cut this off, but as I say, you know, I always keep the bags in the way in which they were sent to me, so that you can see as they are out of the box as such. Across the back panel here you have 3 large padded sections. These 2 are great for being able to help air get in here to circulate. It won't stop you sweating, it won't stop you from getting wet, but what it will do, it'll just mean that it's a little bit more comfortable. And then across the bottom there is an extra padded lumbar support section. The zip, I've got zips on the brain today. The belt that comes with this, is just a little bit meh. I can't really pick a lot of faults with this bag. I think it's a great bag, and I wouldn't necessarily call this a fault. It just seems a little bit more of an afterthought. So if I lift this up here a little bit closer, hopefully you can see this. So there is a pass-through here. There's no Velcro or hook and loop that you generally tend to get with these pass-throughs, and this quite literally is just a piece of webbing that's been passed through. So it moves around from left to right. This is a good 2, maybe 3 inch pass through, but again there's nothing holding this in place, so it does move up and down. If you want to take it off, you know, you can quite easily take it off because there's nothing holding it in place as such. It's not really going to take any weight on your hips. It's not that type of belt. It does offer some support as far as lateral movement, but again, because this quite easily passes along this belt, you do still get a little bit of lateral movement. I think as far as the belt is concerned, it's great to be able to take it off. You know, it's very simple. It's a very simple belt. It just seems a little bit more like an afterthought. Oh, we need to put a belt on it. Right, okay, let's just do this. Yeah, there's nothing really much more I can say about the belt other than, like I say, it just seems a little bit more like an afterthought. As far as the suspension system and the straps are concerned, absolutely amazing. VIKTOS, again, you know, they've knocked the ball out of the park on this. The padding is really, really dense padding. It's a good 10mm thick. All of the supports that come onto here, you can see where they've been stitched in. So they've been stitched in, plus there is an additional piece of nylon that has come over and then box stitched. Where that then is then stitched to the pack, there is an additional box stitch just to make sure that it doesn't come off. You know, this thing is designed to be bomb-proof, it really is. Then as you go down, as you expect with these, you know, you've got some elastic loops that you can pass hydration systems through, and then it comes down to the sternum and you have a nice sternum strap there that will help to keep it in place. I think with a 40-litre pack like this, to be able to have a sternum strap on there, they're a little bit more useful in the fact that, you know, it does take a little bit more pressure off your shoulders. And as far as how does it carry, well, it's kind of what I've come to expect from VIKTOS so far. They're 3 for 3 as far as bags are concerned. It carries really well. The shoulders, for me, fit just about right. I'm 5'10", about 200 pounds, a 42-inch chest. It fits really well. It's very comfortable. The shoulders are tapered so they're a little bit more ergonomical. They come round your shoulders, they fit into that shoulder cup, they come round under your armpits. And do you know, yeah, like I say, you know, it's just very comfortable once you've got it on. Now, as I previously mentioned here, this is a 40-litre pack, so that you can really pack this out. When it gets to the heavier ends, expect to be carrying 40 litres worth of stuff, but I think it does a very good job of being able to dissipate some of that weight through the straps into the shoulders, and also with the use of the sternum strap as well, it does a very good job of that as well. Now, some of you might be wondering why this says that it is part 1, and that is because I, in my heart of hearts, in my core, know that I would be doing the Moorlanders a massive disservice if I didn't compare the Perimeter 40 against the Perimeter 25. So we'll have a look at, in part 2, the differences between the two, you know, which is best for you for EDC and a little bit more. So we'll check that out in the next video, which will be part 2. But I'm not going to stop there as well, because again, you know, I would be doing you a massive disservice if I didn't take one of the newest 40-litre backpacks and compare it to one of the most popular 37-litre backpacks on the market with the Rush 24. This is the Rush 24 version 2, which I reviewed recently, and I think VIKTOS I've took a massive blow across the bow for 511 with this pack. There are some subtle differences, there's some huge differences between the two, so we'll have a look at those next week in part 2. Come hell or high water, if it's raining, I'm gonna put up a tarp and we'll do it in the rain. So yeah, we'll compare those two next week. Now, I definitely want to say a massive thank you at this point for VIKTOS for sending this my way, as I usually do. You know, full disclosure, because this was sent to me, it has absolutely no reflection on the outcome of this video. It turns out that, you know, I loved the Perimeter 25, so there's a very good chance that I was going to make some content to show how much I like this as well. I hadn't made up my mind before I made this content. I've tested this thoroughly, and you know, it's a great pack. If you're after something that's good for EDC, you can put your usual EDC sort of stuff in here, but what the Perimeter 40 does is just give you that extra little bit more. You can take this away for the weekend. If you're away with business, you can put all of your laptops and that sort of stuff, and you can put extra clothes in there, and you can do that if you want to take this away for the weekend with a family and kids, that I've done quite recently. You can do that as well. I think with what the 40 does is just give you a little bit more versatility in the additional stuff that you can put into a pack like this. I've said it a few times, but as far as VIKTOS are going here at Moorlander EDC, they are 3 for 3. The Perimeter 25, the Upscale 2, and the Perimeter 40 from a new company on the market. They've only been around since 2017. I really do think that they are making some excellent products and gear. Now, I don't have to say this bit, but you know, I think I will, and that's just that if you're here in the UK and you want to pick up something from VIKTOS, your one-stop shop for VIKTOS gear is TACTREE. I'll leave some of their links in the description below. This wasn't sent to me from them, but you know, I've worked with them in the past, and I think it's a good thing for me to do. It's just to say that they're the place here in the UK. If you want to go and you want to pick up some VIKTOS gear, then you should definitely go to TACTREE to check them out as well. All of those links, you know, they're all in the description below. There'll be some of my social media links in the description below, as they usually are, as every single YouTuber does when they get to the end. You know, like, subscribe and share. That would be awesome. It shows that you definitely appreciate my content. I appreciate you probably been watching a lot with this one. There's a lot to waffle because there's a lot about this pack that is good. And yeah, you know, for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC.